Hello, everyone. Andrew Taylor here. Today we have Katelynn Blackburn with us. And Katelynn, I'm excited because you've done really well. And then you learned about chargebacks and other things in the industry that you overcame and then continued to do really well. You brought two guests with you today who are in a similar situation. They're killing it. They've overcome the adversity of the business. And I wanted you to take a second to introduce them.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us. This is Brianna. She's protected over 70 families last month and has overcome adversity and keeps going and is absolutely crushing it. And then this is Jakob, and he's been here for about a year. Came in from Costco in Chico, just pushing grocery carts, graduated college, and took this serious from the very get-go and has absolutely crushed it, helping 40 families last month.
Nice, man. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to ask questions that all three of you can answer, okay? And that way people can get an idea. Maybe they're in the same situation. Maybe this can help some people watching. But the first question is, once you started, how long did it take you to actually really be 100% in the company? Let's start with Brianna.
Oh, yeah. For me, so it definitely took me a good 6 months for me to actually take my schedule seriously, take my business seriously, and take the whole process seriously. A solid 6 months.
For me, it was pretty instantaneous. I wasn't happy where I was before I found Family First Life, so I found the opportunity, I believed in it right away, and I went all in right away.
Yeah, and for me, same thing. It's pretty much as fast as possible. At my prior job, I wasn't happy with it, so I just graduated college. I really had nothing to lose.
What weren't you happy about?
I was just, the work ethic thing where, I could work as hard as I possibly could and get paid just as much as the person next to me who's not doing nearly as much work. Couldn't stand that, and just being, constantly ordered to do the different things that you may or may not want to do. I hated that, and especially with this job, the opportunity of being your own business owner and working for yourself was really, intriguing to me. I really wanted to pursue something like that. So for me, I was pretty instant. It took me about a month to completely get going, after I kind of got the hang of things. And yeah.
That's cool. Now, what were your guys' initial struggles? And did you think you were going to continue to do this? Or was it easy for you at first? Or was it difficult? What was that experience like?
So I struggled with definitely, you become your own boss. So that means you have to be in charge of your schedule. You have to be in charge of making sure you show up. And so that was a struggle for me. I had to take my schedule seriously. And then also buying the leads, that was a struggle that I had. And I had never spent that much money on something before. And so I had a lot of struggles in the beginning.
What about you, Katelynn?
Yeah, my main thing I would say would be just the adversity from the outside world, just that this is just completely different than a regular 8-to-5 job. So coming into it knowing that, I'm going to make my own schedule, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'll only be working 8 to 5. I'm going to be working around the clock, and realizing that I had to give up a lot of things to really make this work and take it seriously. And now there isn't anything that would stop me from doing it. So once you really put your mind to it, I think that you can get into that spot where there isn't anything better than this.
Yeah, and for me, in the very beginning, making that big first lead purchase, it's scary. Most people don't spend that much money on anything, and you're just casually doing it. But once you get used to that and you realize that that's the only investment that you really need to get back into the business, it becomes a lot easier. Another thing was you have these appointments and you're getting no-showed, or the appointment's not going as you would want it to go, after a while, or having a couple appointments back to back, that can get really overwhelming and kind of make you rethink things. But I mean, people are people, and you'll get through it, as long as you just keep pushing, everything will, work out.
Yeah, that's huge. Now, were you nervous to make your first lead purchase?
My first lead purchase that I bought 20 instant leads. And I thought for sure each and every one of them was going to be waiting by their phone for me to call them. I was so like devastated after my first, lead purchase and dial day. And that was barely a dial day. It was like 20 minutes of dialing. But yeah, I was definitely like, wait.
So what'd you think?
It made me even more afraid because I was like, wait, these are some disconnected numbers. Somebody told me to, buzz off. So it definitely.
How'd you overcome that though? What'd you do?
So I went on a business trip to Indiana with Katelynn, and I saw how she did it.
Why Indiana?
We randomly chose that. I have no idea.
I think there were just a lot of leads there.
Yeah.
And so.
I had never been there, so.
Yeah, I'd been connected with her that week that I first started, and she was like, do you want to just come to Indiana with me? I was like, yeah, sure. I don't have my Indiana license, but I'll go with you and see what a top producer does. And I think that like gave me more belief, but it made me afraid too because I saw how serious she was with her schedule. But yeah, buying leads is definitely scary, but the more you buy, the better it will be.
Yeah, I can always remember when it comes to leads, like when I first started, the first event I ever went to, I remember someone talking about if they doubled their lead flow, they would double the amount of families they could protect. And I was like, that totally makes sense. Of course, that's going to be a scary thing to do, but if I do that, I believe in myself enough that I could protect that many families. So I just started doing it.
Well, it's more risky to buy less leads.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's just the numbers don't always work out on a small scale. On a larger scale, they're more likely to work out. The averages are more likely to work out. So if you really want to be risky, then just get a couple leads. But what you're talking about, I think, is a very common thing that gets people to get out of the industry. They get in, they get a couple leads, they get told no, and then they don't want to go back because they're like, this doesn't work.
Yeah, you totally lose like the confidence in the system, but it's really like common sense. Like if you give yourself more chances, but the thing is you can't just buy the leads and then hope that they call you.
Exactly, and that's another thing that happens.
Right. You have to be crazy diligent about your schedule. Like you just have to be almost robotic about it and say, especially in the beginning, every day is dial day. So you have to be willing to put in the work, but if you put in the work, it's really hard to fail.
So I made this rule when I was in the field, and it was, I'm going to get a yes or no from every lead. And because what happened was that every week I would buy leads, and I had a stack that was super high of people that I had never contacted. So I made this rule. I go, okay, every lead I get every week, I'm going to resolve it. I'm going to call it, text it, email, knock on their door. I'm going to get a yes or no. And as long as I get a yes or no, I did my job. And that really helped me get more sales because my whole goal was just to resolve it,
Yeah, either way, yes or no, I just want to resolve it.
Yeah. And usually you can help them.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. You guys are interested. This is an interesting situation because a lot of people are going virtual. They're selling over the phone virtually now. You three tried virtual and didn't like it, and you're having massive success in the field. So can we talk about that? Can each of you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so for me, I'm just naturally a controlling person. Like I just want to have everything in my control that I can. So virtually, I don't like the fact that they can hang up on me or close like the computer and as soon as I get the numbers. And I'm such a people person anyways, so I love being in the field. I love meeting these people and helping out these families, and I really just enjoy the in-person. You can feel their energy, you can read them, you can push them harder, you can just over the phone it seems very transactional, and there are some people here that absolutely kill it over the phone, and that is amazing. I will do virtual if I have to, but I really prefer in person.
Yeah, I'm very similar to Brianna in that way. I have tried virtual, and I wouldn't say that I can't do it. I can do it if I have to, but I really enjoy my job more when I'm face to face with someone. And I think that it just comes down to it's so much more personable. You can look at them in the eyes. You're in their home. So they're in a more vulnerable situation where they're going to talk to you about what's really going on, whether that is, they were looking to protect their home or their funeral final expense. You're going to get a good idea of what's actually going on in their life if you're right in front of them. I've noticed that I can make a better connection with my clients when I am in front of them. And if there's because I have tried a little bit of both. So if there is any issues with, a payment or they need something changed on their policy, when I sit with someone in home, I always get the phone call first. Like, they're going to call me, I'm going to be there to help them. Over the phone, it is just a little bit more transactional. So I've realized that those ones necessarily don't always call me back, and they don't always, they may not feel like they know who I am as much as when I am in person with them. I also enjoy getting out of the home or out of my home and, traveling around and seeing what else is out there. So.
Yeah, I mean, in-home is great. You just can't beat it. Sitting face-to-face with someone just really brings a lot more meaning, to what you're doing. And really, I mean, realistically, it's coming down to, they're trusting you to make sure that everything's going to be okay if something were to happen to them, right? That's a pretty big, that's big for them. So that's great. Another thing is that it really builds structure to your day. I mean, if you have a full day of appointments and you're running in the field, you're forced to do that. You have these appointments. You told these people that you're going to be at this time. It's more of an obligation to do it. I mean, for me, in my experience doing virtual, you talk with one family on the home, you protect them, and then it's kind of hard to keep that train going. So for me, in person is a lot easier to keep that schedule going and keep your day full.
If you put the time on the phones, though.
Yeah.
I think that you can set yourself up for more success in home, because if I'm setting a phone appointment, you might not remember, you might be out doing something, but if I say I'm going to come to your house and you forget about it, I can't tell you how many times, oh, I forgot that you were coming. But I remembered that
they were still home.
Right,
and
they were still
there.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that for anyone new too, it is important to try in-home first, and then if that is something that you feel like you've mastered, then you can decide if you want to do virtual. I think in-home is really where you learn a lot of the skills that a lot of the top producers are utilizing virtually, but they learned that from in-home presentations.
Yeah, I mean, dealing with objections is huge, and over the phone you can just get hung up on, and then that's a lot of practice there, So sitting at home, dealing with the client face to face and dealing with those objections right there on the spot, I feel like are the best thing, to be successful and get over those objections for sure.
Now, you guys, what kind of leads do you guys all work?
All CRM, mortgage mailers,
which ones?
FEX, 1 month, instant, 3 month.
So you get
everything.
You just get a blend of CRM.
Yeah.
Mixture of all of them. And we were talking about this last night too. What I'll do is I don't necessarily have to find an area that has 200 new internet leads to go there. I will just consistently buy in the areas that I enjoy going to. If there's 20 in there, I'm going to buy 20. I'll be back there in a couple weeks. I'm not going to worry about having to look at certain counties and being like, well, this county has 100 instance, 200, 3 months, I have to go there. I'm just going to consistently, I stock the CRM every
You get them newer
hours.
too when you do that.
Oh yeah,
They're
they
fresher
right when
as
they come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always on the CRM.
And you do the same thing?
So I prefer the 1 months. Those are my favorite. And I will look for areas that have 100 to 150 or more 1 months. And then I will supplement with new and 3 month. But
The only
those
weird thing
1 months-
about it is the 1 months are the new ones. They were the new ones at one point.
Yeah.
So I wonder why people like the 1 month so much.
I just find that they're easier on the phone. They know what I'm talking about more than the new in the instance, in my opinion.
But it's the same people.
Which is crazy. Yeah.
But
Maybe.
it could be that they're not getting blown up.
Yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
That could be the thing.
Well, and we're thinking too that if they haven't been blown up, they're going to be more, like, more likely of a chance that they're going to answer their phone. Because if I've been blown up by the same 3 numbers in the last 3 days,
You
and I
don't
know who it
answer
is, I'm not going to answer that. Yeah. But if it's been like a month and I haven't got blown up by anybody that I don't know, I'm going to answer it. So I thought that might be why too.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Yeah, especially, I mean, me, if someone calls me and I don't know the number, it's very unlikely that I'm going to pick it up, you know? So just going along with that, it makes sense for someone not to answer the phone if they're getting blown up by a bunch of unknown numbers every single day. So,
Yeah, that's crazy. So when you guys are starting your week, what day do you guys plan where you're going to go and what leads you're going to get? Like, what does that look like?
So I will look sometimes just the night before, or like, for example, next week I'm having somebody come out and train with me. So I'm like planning this week. Okay, where am I going to go? And, but yeah, just like a week to.
And you helped
2 days
70
before.
people last month.
CRM 1 month, mainly.
How many of those is the address or information not accurate?
You're gonna run into that. You are definitely gonna run into that. So I've had to change my script around because I was getting some. That's not my birthday, or that's my address from 10 years ago, you know? So I've changed my script around because that is gonna happen, especially if you're on your phone. You do a lot of surveys, it autofills. So it will autofill. I mean, my phone still autofills my
your
California
credit card
address.
too and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you just have to adapt when you realize, okay, I got a few people that said that's not my birthday, so now I'm going to say it in a different way. I'm going to have a different order in which I ask them things.
So now you would go, is this your current address?
I do the address towards the very end, once you've already chosen a time and everything. That's like one of the last things that I confirm.
What do you say for birthday?
I've started saying, is this your birth year?
That's
And
so
I said, you
smart.
listed this as your birth year. Is that correct?
Who taught you that?
It's just from trial and error, just from doing it myself, realizing, okay, I'm getting this objection. How can I avoid it?
So I've always had this theory when people go, you know, that guy was a jerk. No one could sell him. Someone could sell him. And you can always get better. But I love that because that excuse that what you were going through someone could have gotten out of the business because of it, but you just overcame it and figured out a smarter way to call people. That's so good.
Yeah, overcoming adversity is huge in this industry in general, and I think that it's super important to just realize that we all go through the same exact things. Like, we're all running into the same things. It's just how we decide we're going to overcome it. And some people decide that they're going to overcome it and become better, and some people get stuck in their head, you know? So my main goal always is to continue to get better, and there's always new things that I learn from agents. I mean, I just learned that about you, and that's amazing. That's a great way to overcome that objection. So there's always something new to learn, and if you can just keep your head in the right spot to keep going, you just won't fail. You'll just keep going.
That's huge.
yeah, and I think you just mentioned it that, you know, someone else could have sold them. There's been multiple times where I've sat down with someone, you know, and they don't get the insurance that they need, but I've put them back on my schedule a couple months down the road, and, you know, that now they're ready for it. I mean, that's happened multiple times, and I think that just proves that, you know, something could have been going on that day where they just didn't want to deal with this right now. They didn't want to talk about whatever it may be. But, I mean, realistically, they did want it. It was just not the right time. So.
Yeah, that's huge. All right, so this is a business of rejection. Would you guys agree that you get more rejection than you get, like, sales?
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on as you improve your craft, the more you improve your craft, the less objections you're going to
Or
get.
do you not notice, like,
You don't notice it as much, and it doesn't affect you as much.
it doesn't affect you anymore?
No.
But since this is a business that has a lot of rejection, has that ever weighed on you, like mentally, where it made you get down on yourself because people are telling you to kick rocks when you call them, or being crazy? Has that ever happened?
Yes, definitely. And that's part of the reason why I was so half in, half out for the first 6 months, was because I'd have like a good day and then I'd have a bad day and then I'd have a, rough time in the home and then I'd have, oh my gosh, wow, I got like a bigger sale. And then it's just such a roller coaster. And if you're not doing it full time, you feel it a lot more. And then like the chargeback email will make you like sick to your stomach. And so the rejection was one of the hardest parts for me to overcome. Like I was really expecting these people to be like excited for me to call them because you filled out a form. So I'm calling to help you with the request that you made. And so I think that the mindset is your mindset is so important and really it's what's going to make or break you, and your ability to pick yourself up and keep going, like how fast you can do that is what determines if you're going to be successful or not, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's very similar, is that, of course, like rejection is not fun for anybody, but it is the way that you handle it. And for me, I always went back to like the bigger picture of things. Like if I was going to have like a bad day, there's no way that if I kept going, I was going to have a bad week. And I knew that if I kept going, that it would be fine. And you just have to dig deep inside of you and figure out why you're doing this, because we all have a reason why we're here. Mine's my daughter, and I want to provide something for her that I never could imagine. So that always gets me. If I'm having a bad day, it doesn't matter. Like, we're going to keep going forward and it will work out.
Yeah, I mean, having a bad day of objections, especially in the beginning, it really got to me sometimes. It's hard. But, as you keep going, you get over them. And I started to treat them as like a game. It's like, okay, well, I got this objection this time. The next time I got that, I know what I'm going to say. I'm prepared. I'm not going to let that happen again. We're not going to relive that same scenario. So that's how I started acting at it, or acting towards it. And it really kind of changed my attitude and made it a positive thing.
So you're just trying to learn from everything.
Yeah, exactly.
There's been some times, though, where I'm like, yeah, I'm quitting. And then the next day I'd wake up and I go, okay, I'm not going to quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you guys done that?
Yeah.
You just need to go to sleep and then wake up and you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you guys invest in leads. You struggled at first, but realized that that's really the only way to get consistent numbers, unless you can just get referrals all the time, which I don't have that personality just to go get referrals from everybody and not need leads. You do that. You guys got used to rejection, overcame that, and then let's talk about chargebacks. What happened when you got your first chargebacks? How'd you overcome it? How do you think of that?
So I'm trying to think. I can't really remember my first chargeback, but I mean, it's definitely scary, and the right way to handle it is buy more leads and get to work. But I think that if you're part-time, you feel those chargebacks a lot more. But if you're full-time, 6 days a week, it's like, whatever, I'll just write more.
So if you
today.
write 10 applications and 2 cancel, then next week you write 10, you only get paid on 8.
Right.
The next week 3 more cancel. The next week you write 10, you get paid on 7. But if you stop writing,
that's when you start to really notice it. If you're consistent with your schedule, I don't even care about them anymore,
then it's just baked into the to the whole thing, kind of like running a store and buying too much pizza dough and it going bad and losing margin there if you had a pizza shop.
Right. And then I think Sean said in one of the videos, if you just mentally prepare yourself, okay, 20 or 30% of this is going to fall off, then you just start to look at your money differently, you know? And it's like, okay, you know, this is what I have right now. I'm just going to buy leads and keep going, and it will work out.
Yeah, that was one thing that I definitely could have done better from the very beginning, is just realizing that that was going to happen, and that you have to, you know, the company is helping you, like they're fronting you that money, so you need to save that for your business. It's for your business to go back into the business. And when you get a chargeback, if you're consistent, it won't affect your income, but if you're not consistent, it's going to affect it significantly. I think that changing my mindset on chargebacks was really important too, like thinking about it as a business, as things do get returned in businesses. I mean, that happens at Target. Somebody buys something, they return it. You know, those things happen, and thinking of it that way versus thinking, oh, this person canceled. It's like, maybe you did everything you could to prevent that from happening, and there was nothing that you could do. So just really factoring that into your business will help you be successful when it comes to those things you can't control, because that's one of them. You know, you can't control that, but you can control your activity and how often you're going to go out and protect families.
I remember early on you told me, you said it's just an interest-free loan. That's the way that you should look at it. And then I have actually saved some chargebacks though by calling them and telling them, you know, finding out why, oh, it's just too much, I can't afford it right now. Okay, let's lower it then.
Yeah.
You went with 15,000, let's go down to 10 or 8. Something is better than nothing. And they've been like, yeah, you're right. And so you can save chargebacks.
Yeah, I've definitely, I mean, I think keeping in touch and giving them a call, you know, definitely helps. And I like to call them and approach it as like, well, you know, this is my fault because obviously I didn't put you in the best position. You know, if this is something that charged back as a price, then that's my fault. You know, I didn't see your situation as well as I possibly could have, you know, to put you in that best position.
That's good.
And that's what I usually tell them. And they're like, okay, yeah, like that's right. You know, it's not me not being able to afford it. You know, it just really wasn't the best position for them. So that's how I started, you know, calling them on the phone when I get a chargeback and doing that.
Yeah. Now, have you guys started hiring yet?
Mm-hmm.
And what's your experience on, like setting the right expectations for a new hire?
That's actually something that I'm currently like, okay, so how do I want this relationship to be? So I think definitely like respect, and then, but a good level of just not too comfortable.
Yeah, I think respect is a huge thing. Another thing is like, I want someone to want to listen to me, you know, and respect what I have to say, and like, well, I'm trying to help you here, you know. I want.
Well, they'll respect you because you're writing a lot of business.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But if you weren't, then they might not.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like when it comes like, well, you know, I'm telling you this for a reason. You know, I don't want to see you fail. Why would I want that? So what I'm telling you is because I want to see you win. And, you know, I'm just trying to help you get there. And, you know, if someone's not willing to necessarily help themselves, you know, or go that extra mile to put themselves in a better situation, you know, then they're asking a lot of me to try to pull them out of that. Or, yeah, kind of what I'm saying.
What I do is I try to scare them off, because I want the people that are willing to go through all the hard stuff to get to where they want to be. Mm-hmm. So I tell them all the bad stuff, like chargebacks. You got to run your own schedule. You have to invest in leads. If you don't work, you lose money. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, I've started doing that too. When I first started recruiting and growing my team, I think that I was like, you know, not necessarily talking about how hard it can be sometimes. And now I do want to know why that person that I'm talking to, why they want to do this, you know, like what is it that interests you, and like what are you willing to give up to make this work? You know, I do like to ask those questions, and they can be harder questions for people, but it really does work because it brings in some really valuable people.
So what do you guys do? Or what is the reason you guys want to do this?
I want to give back to my family. That's my big why.
Like your parents, your siblings?
My parents, my siblings. I mean, they were always there for me when I was growing up. So, I mean, the last thing I want to be able to do is just give to them, and, get them through retirement, things like that. Just be able to give back and let them live, a good life, That's my main goal, and that's why I want to do this.
For me, I just think that this opportunity is unbelievable and by far the best opportunity that America has to offer. And I just think I want to prove it to myself that I can do it. I definitely want to give back to my family, and I definitely want 100 acres of farmland.
I like that. Where?
I want land, ammo.
Where?
Guns. Either Indiana or like just one of like the
What kind of animals
Midwest.
do you want?
The thing is,
I know ammo. You don't want any animals?
I want the land, and then I will contract it out and to farmers, and then but I just want land. I really want to invest in land and just.
So no pets.
Not a pet person personally. Yeah, not a zoo, but I mean, I would love like cattle and chickens and crops, and that's really
Maybe a goat.
maybe a goat, but I'm not there for the animals, but I just like I want land.
So I went to an appointment in 29 Palms. Do you guys know where that is?
Mm-mm.
It's like the middle of the desert in the middle of nowhere in California. And they had a fence surrounding the whole property. And when I got there, a llama was literally mad dogging me right over the fence. I couldn't get in. And it was like eating straw, and like his jaw was crooked. Like, you know how they chew crooked kind of?
Yeah.
And then I tried to walk over to the other entrance, and he followed me, and like you can't
love
get
it.
in. They're actually good guard pets.
Yeah, it's like donkeys too.
They're
huh?
good security.
Yeah.
And then they were telling me that like if a coyote went in their yard, they would stomp the coyote out,
Wow.
and it protects all the other pet animals that they have.
That's so funny.
So that's kind of a cool pet to get.
Yeah. Things
Yeah.
you see in home.
Yeah, the things you see in home.
Yeah.
We should do a podcast on that.
It's hilarious.
I got to pull up the possum lady that I had. She had possums living in her house, and she
Oh.
was holding them and kissing them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I had a pet squirrel once. Someone had a pet squirrel in a big old cage. So
That's pretty
funny.
cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Just running around the whole thing.
It's pretty entertaining. That's for sure.
Yeah,
that's
in-home
why I love
is
the in-home. You get
Yeah.
to see the craziest things.
definitely entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, and it's funny and fun.
It is.
Mhm.
It is.
Yeah,
Very
to see all
enjoyable.
that. All right, so you guys are building an agency. Where do you guys live?
Northern California.
Indiana.
Okay, if someone wanted to work with you guys, join your team, non-licensed or licensed, you guys would help them. Would you take them in the field with you?
Yeah.
100%.
I'm doing
You
that
would.
next week.
You'd show them appointments in person.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. They can work anywhere in the country.
Yes.
If they wanted to work with you guys, how could they reach you?
They could reach me at 941-258-6910. My name is Brianna Sefik.
And they could reach me at 209-509-8059. And my name is Jakob Gardner.
Nice. Awesome. If anyone has any questions, let us know. Drew, can we put our Discord link in the description of this video? Okay. So we created a Discord, which is like agent communication platform for new agents and seasoned agents, and we have lead support in there. We have underwriting genies in there. We have all this cool stuff in there. So if anybody wants to join that, feel free to do so. Guys, congratulations on your success. And real quick, how old are you guys?
I'm 23.
I'm 30.
23. You're young, man.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are having massive success. I can only imagine what you guys are going to accomplish in the next few years. So congratulations. Keep up the good work. Katelynn, great job training them and getting them in here. And if you guys are interested in working with them, reach out. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for joining us. See you guys.
Thank you.